You are watching the Intermediate Algebra 1 Review Requiz film. Make sure that you have picked up the worksheet and the note sheets before you sit down to watch this film. You will be required to take notes as I do these problems. You will also be required to finish the practice in that packet in order to requiz on the Algebra 1 review. So, let's get started. We're going to start with evaluating the functions. First one says w of n equals negative 3n minus 5, and it says find w of 4. First thing you need to understand is that w is just the name of the function, and the n is the variable that's being used. Okay, so yes, you need to write that down. So the name of this function is w, the variable that's being used is n, and you can see the n right there. Now here, over here, when I say w of 4, that means n was replaced with 4, so you have to replace n with 4 in the actual problem. End up with 3, ooh, there's the n, so we're going to replace it with 4, minus 5. Negative, and now use PEMDAS, the order of operations, to make sure you do the problems right. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Negative 12 minus 5 is negative 17. So w of 4 is equal to negative 17. Let's move on to the next one. The name of this one, remember this is the name, is h, and this is just the variable that's being used. The variable is x. So notice there are x's in here. In the problem then, h of negative 4, we're going to replace the variable with negative 4. So there's where an x was. Here's where an x was. We need to put negative 4 in both of those places. A lot of people on the quiz, when they look at this, put negative 16, so let's make sure that we do negative 4 squared is positive 16. Anything squared is positive. Also, any integer, I should say. And then a lot of people also did 3 times negative 4 here first, and then squared it. So remember, in PEMDAS, that the exponents come before multiply. So this isn't negative 12 squared. It's 3 times 16. Oop, it's already been squared. 3 times 16 first. So that's 48. And then this is a positive 8. So 56 is our answer. H of negative 4 is equal to 56. Keep in mind it's a positive 8 because it's a negative times a negative gives you a positive. All right, if you have more questions about evaluating functions, you can go back and re-listen to this piece of it, or you can go in after school and see, or before school and see your teacher. Let's move on to solving. With solving, we want to get the letters and the numbers on opposite sides, and then do a division to find out what the letter is equal to. So in this one, we have 3n, and positive 2 and positive 6 make 8. Now we can start moving things. So that positive 8 is on the wrong side. We need the 8 to be onto that side with all the numbers. So we're going to take away that 8. End up with 3n is equal to 12. Okay, 20 minus 8, because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Finally, we divide. N is equal to negative 4. And the second problem we have here, you see a set of parentheses. You have to distribute first. That's the very first thing you must do, is distribute. Distribute just means multiply 5 times both of those pieces, 10p minus 10. Now that we have that, we can combine some terms here. 10p looks like minus 16. And we also have letters on the wrong side. So I'm going to move these, try to get rid of those. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. We also have numbers on the wrong side. The negative 16, I'm going to add 16 to get rid of that. And when we do that, you end up with just p's on one side and just numbers on the other. So we can divide to get p is equal to negative 1. All right, again, if you have troubles with solving, you can go back and listen to this portion of it, use the scrubber bar and go back a little bit. or you can go in and see your teacher before or after school. Let's move on to some graphing problems. First problem that we see is in slope-intercept form. So is the second one. Slope-intercept form just means we have the y-intercept, that's the number that's by itself, and we have the slope, which is the number next to the x. Slope tells you extra points. I'll explain that a little further. The y-intercept, here's the y-axis, so the y-intercept goes right on that y-axis, -1. And then the slope gives you a hint as to where the next point might be. The top number is up or down. In this case, it's positive, so it's up. The bottom number is always right. It's one piece that some people got wrong. It's always to the right. Go to the right. Let's go up 4, right 3. You can keep using that pattern to find more points too. There is your line. Don't forget arrows, and don't forget to extend it all the way to the edge of your graphs. So in this one, the y-intercept is +2, so let's put that there. And now the slope again gives us a hint as to where the other lines are. Since there's no bottom part to this fraction, it's going to be a 1. Notice this one is negative, so it's down. But remember, always right. If you run out of room when you're doing that, then you can do the opposites, but you have to do the opposites of both. I would have to go up and to the left. So it's down and always to the right. Down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. And then keep going on this pattern and find a few more points. How many do you need? As many as you're willing to put. At least 3. Okay, so if you have troubles with slope-intercept form, make sure you get in and see a teacher, or you can rewind this and see. Listen to it again and again, that's fine. If it's what you need, it's what you need. Let's move on to the standard form. Now in standard form problems, we're going to find the intercepts, both x and y-intercept. The x-intercept is when y is 0. So if y is 0, I end up with x minus 2 times 0 equals -6. That's x minus 0. That's just x equals -6. So that's why I can put -6 in here. And that is a point. -6 comma 0 is right here. For the y-intercept, that means x is 0. So 0 minus 2y is equal to -6. -2y equals -6. And when I divide, I end up with 3. So 0, 3 is a point. It's just right here. There is our line. Okay, make sure you extend your lines all the way. Put arrows on both sides. Okay, this one's also in standard form. Make that xy table. For the x-intercept, that means y is 0. So 5x minus 2 times 0 equals 10. 2 times 0 is just 0, so I have 5x equals 10. That means x equals 2. 2 comma 0 is a point. It's right here. And for the y-intercept, the x is 0. So 5 times 0 minus 2y is equal to 10. So I have -2y equals 10 as one piece that people forgot. Don't forget it's a -2y there. Divide by -2 and end up with -5. And -5 is just a point right there. Don't forget to extend your line all the way through. There you have it. You can go back and look at, oops, I forgot to put that in. You can go back and look at standard form graphing. Move the scrubber bar to the left and see it again. Or you can go in and see your teacher to finish the worksheet. Don't forget now you have a whole mess of practice that you do need to complete. There are no exceptions before you are allowed to re-quiz. Again, if you need help on any of this stuff, your teacher would be happy to stay with you before or after school, even if you have sports, to help you out with this stuff.